Right, we are live. We are live. Let the viewers build up. Give it a sec. Mic check, mic check.
Who is Mike?
Mike is here. This is Mike right here. This.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Saying that, I ain't got my headphones. I forgot my headphones. That's why I got these.
Oh, well, not to worry.
Right, here we go. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another live episode on Disqualified Dads. I am your humble host, Coach Farouk, and I am joined by none other than the best Mackenzie in the game, known as that family law guy, Mr. Ryan.
Good evening, all. Welcome to what day is it?
70.
Thank you. Welcome to episode 70. My word, that's a good number. Welcome to episode 70, and welcome to Sunday, the 2nd of November. Yes, folks, it is November. That is really quite frightening.
Scary.
Yeah, it is scary. It is scary. We are weeks away. Apparently, we are only, well, maybe less now. We are only 7 or 8 weeks away from Christmas for those who celebrate. And that's just disturbing. That's just disturbing.
It is. It is
I'm not quite
very,
sure.
very
I'm not
disturbing.
quite sure where the time's gone.
Yeah, no, it is very disturbing. And as we approach Christmas and the end of 2025, and we are encroaching onto 2026, and obviously the subject of today's stream as well, it started to dawn on me now. Ultimately, we are approaching March 2026 very shortly, and that will mark 4 years bang on of no contact whatsoever, no movement, major delays, major incompetency, case lost in the system. And I think all of that, and combine that with the fact that what happened with this recent case this week, with the delays there, has just brought the reality home and slapped me in the face of where I'm at myself. Ultimately, the despair has just come back to the surface.
Yeah, I get that. And yes, I am going to talk about, well, I'll talk about it now. I am going to talk about a very real matter, and I appreciate yours is a very real matter, and I'm not looking to diminish it, but a very real matter that took place this week. Very briefly, I'll give you the potted history. This week, I headed down south in order to spend 4 days down south, of which 3 of those days were going to be on a fact find, which was scheduled 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. So myself and another member of my legal team, we travelled down south on Tuesday in order to park ourselves near the court, and then obviously work with the client in order to get ourselves ready for the fact find, which was going to run for 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. At late afternoon on Tuesday, and when I say late afternoon, it was about 4 o'clock, 4:30, something like that, maybe even 4:45, we received an email from the court which said the fact find is not going to go ahead because we have not got a judge to preside over it.
Right.
Now, let's talk about the incompetence first. You have in your diary a 3-day legal event, and the day before the 3-day legal event, which has been in your diary for 5 to 6 months, it suddenly dawns on you that you can't fulfill it, and you have to advise the parties that it cannot be fulfilled. That in itself is pretty incompetent. The fact that you could not afford the parties, just out of a little bit of courtesy, you could not afford them more notice than that, because having communicated with the court, and indeed having seen the court the following day, because I was there, we were given the very clear indication that they had known for a number of weeks that they were struggling on this hearing, that they were struggling to find a member of the judiciary, a judge, to sit on it. So we could have had 10 days notice, 2 weeks notice, 3 weeks notice that this was looking suspect or this wasn't going to happen. But we didn't. We got, 12 hours notice. There's issue number one. That is just grossly incompetent. Issue number two, and to my mind, this is the single most important issue. It doesn't matter about the inconvenience that is caused to me. It doesn't matter about the inconvenience that is caused to the member of my legal team who came with me in order that we battle this matter on behalf of our client. What matters is that our client has not seen his child for a number of months since the beginning of the year. So here we are 11 months in, 10, 11 months in since they last saw their child. For us to have to break the news to them that this hearing is not going to go ahead, and they are going to incur further delay. More weeks will lapse where they do not see their child. And that is more distressing, and that is more impactful than any of the inconvenience on me. The inconvenience on me and my team is irrelevant. It is the fact that this father is now thwarted again from seeing his child for a protracted period of time. And I will tell you how protracted it is, because when we went into court on the Wednesday, in order to be formally told that this is not going ahead because we haven't got anybody to sit on it, albeit that it is a judge telling us that I haven't got a judge to sit on this matter. There is an argument that says, well, what are you doing? But we get told this is not going to happen. We then get told that we will look at the diary to get this matter back in as quickly as humanly possible in order that we can allocate 3 days and move this matter on, because it's absolutely to the detriment of the child that any delay beyond the reasonable is accepted. We got that date. We know when this matter is now coming back into court, and this matter is coming back into court in May 2026.
Oh my God. Wow.
In 7 months' time is when this matter is coming back into court. So by that point, this father will not have seen the child for 18 months. By that point.
Sickening.
And then the reality is, if we follow that process, and I believe this father may well be watching this evening, and I'm not making any of these comments in order to distress him. He has my absolute support. But what will happen is, we'll do the fact find. The fact find is likely to then lead, or almost guaranteed to lead, to Cafcass requiring to do a Section 7 report. Down on the southern states, that is up to 26 weeks for them to do that, so up to 6 months for them to complete that. So now we're at May. We now add another 6 months onto May. That takes us up into November of next year, a year away from where we currently stand, where we will potentially have the Cafcass report that potentially will open the door to this father seeing his child again. By the time we've gone through the hoops and performed the somersaults that we need to perform, it was not beyond the realms of reality for 2 years to have passed between this child seeing their father last and the next time they see their father. And as I say, should this father be watching this broadcast, this is not designed in any way to upset him, because he's aware of this. He's acutely aware of the reality of this situation. And he is incredibly stalwart about it and incredibly stubborn in his resilience to see this matter through. And I commend him for that. But this is not right, folks. This is not right. It is not right. And this is not a unique set of circumstances. This is happening every day in courts up and down the land, where matters are being relisted, matters are being bumped, matters are being stood down, they're being adjourned, they're being vacated because we haven't got the resources to do the job. And people are being hurt. Children are being hurt.
Yeah, it's highly disturbing. I have to say, this is highly distressing, highly disturbing. And add to that, I think when you hear this, like, you know, when you are going to court, looking forward to your case, looking forward to some result, you go in with that little spark and that hope, and it gets crushed. it pushes you into despair. And the despair that you go through and knowing that you are helpless is what eats up at you inside. The injustice, the pain, the despair, and the fact that you've got your hands tied behind your back. There's nothing you can do. And that is what eats away at you inside, unfortunately.
Absolutely. It's just not right. It's just simply not right. There's no other way. There's no clever. I can wrap it up in gloriously clever response and clever prose. But the reality is this: it's just not right. This court is not fulfilling its own objective. This court is letting children down. Never mind the parties. Never mind mums and dads whose shoulders theoretically are broad enough to cope with this. They are letting children down. That child in that matter has not seen their father since the beginning of the year. We have no idea what is being said to them. We have no idea what is being said to that child as to why it is that they're not seeing dad, because prior to the start of the year, when contact stopped, they were seeing their dad regularly. They had an incredibly healthy relationship with their dad. It was stopped because of some issues between dad and mum, which will be sorted out in family court, and that's fine. But they shouldn't take 18 months. They should not take 18 months to 2 years to fulfill this matter, because ultimately it is the child who is suffering. But I don't know the child. I've never met the child. I trust at some point I will meet the child, as I tend to meet all the children who are directly or indirectly in our care. But I do know the father, because the father is a client of mine. And the father is being looked after by this practice. And I know his upset, and I feel his upset, and I am outraged by his upset.
Question is right, Mr. Ryan. Now, this has become a common theme now. The delays. Clearly, it's not just an East London court. There are other courts up and down London and potentially the country. But the delays it's clearly inevitable now. There are major delays, but at what point does someone acknowledge someone of authority or the officials or the government or someone to say that this is broken beyond repair or something needs to be done?
You would like to think at some point somebody will say enough is enough. The problem is that obviously as a nation, and I'm resisting the temptation to get political, but as a nation, we are not wealthy. We do not have the resource, the financial resource to fund all of the various mechanisms and instruments within the infrastructure of this great land that we need. That is why the criminal justice system is in trouble and on its knees. That is why the family justice system is on its knees. That is why the NHS is on its knees. It's because this nation is struggling. I just look at the measure for me is the physical state of the courtrooms that I stand in. They are shabby. They are shabby beyond belief. And it verges on embarrassing when you take a client in and say, here you are, you're in the exalted courtrooms of Britain, of England, and look at the state of it. Look at the state of it, because we have no money to work to provide any maintenance, and there's no money coming soon. This matter is not going to get fixed soon by a massive injection of cash, which is what it requires. It is not. There is not going to be a massive recruitment drive for more judges to fill more court time. That is not going to happen because we cannot afford it. What has happened this week, and it will see whether this is a trigger for change, is that the current president of the family court, Sir Andrew McFarlane, has announced his retirement this week.
Okay.
He will spend 6 months finding his own replacement and then handing over to them. So we will have a new president by the middle of next year. We will have a new president of the family court. And whoever that is, be it man, woman, or child, whoever it is who walks into that role is walking into and forgive me for using this phrase, but they are walking into a shitstorm. They really are. They are walking into a world of pain. They're walking into a mechanism where nothing in the family court system works the way it should do. Nobody is walking out of the family court system with any degree of contentment. The judges aren't happy with how it runs. The court staff are abused and overworked, so they're not happy with how it runs. Parties aren't happy with how it runs because it didn't look like that in the brochure. Legals, but who run alongside myself, we're not happy with how it runs because it doesn't work for us in terms of how it is that we're trying to fulfill our obligations to our clients. It's fulfilling nobody. It's helping nobody. And the problem is, as I've said many times on this broadcast and on other broadcasts that I've done, the problem is bigger than just the lack of money in family court. The problem is a societal problem. The problem is the fact that we as a nation, and I think I was saying this very recently, just to you and I were talking about it last week, maybe even the week before. We as a nation are incredibly angry. We as a nation no longer want to talk it out. We as a nation want to fight it out. And so we go to court, and we go to court at a drop of a hat. And that causes massive congestion in the court system. So we've got inadequate resource, inadequate court systems, inadequate staff in terms of the ability of the staff to be able to manage the portfolio, massive requirement and need for the system. And in all of that, you deliver nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very bleak, I have to say. It's a very, very bleak situation currently.
It is. It is, and I say, it will not get any better soon. It will not, and this is one of the, oh, look out, trade, spoiler alert. Obviously, the book that comes out next year, my book when it comes out next year, highlights in fairly graphic detail how terrible the family court is, and I really wish it wouldn't. I would love to be able to write a book that says the family court is wonderful. It's a fabulous place. Everybody goes in and gets wonderful resolutions that are incredibly fair. And the children are treated as the little princes and little princesses that we need them to be. And it's all glorious. And it's like Disney. But it's not.
Yeah, the problem is, right, the bar has been set so low now with family court. It's, forget the hearing and the case and all the rest of it. You're lucky to get a continuation and a good flow of hearings that will get you to a resolution. The fact that there's a judge available to see you is a good place. Like, that's the starting point that we're saying, all right, you've got a date. How lucky are you? You've got a court date. I mean, this is the bar now. That's how bad it is. I mean, it is depressing, very depressing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That might be fair. One of the first things I say to new clients who come on board is, do you know how to limbo? Because you're going to need to limbo under the bar.
Okay, well, guys, this is a very bleak start, but
it is a bleak start. Yes,
I'm struggling to be positive. I'm struggling to be positive. Just on the back of that, knowing this father, knowing what he's now facing, that despair of knowing that he's lost 6 months, he's about to lose another 6 months to a year. That has triggered my own despair and made me think about my own case. And for those of you who have just joined, it's just reminded me that my situation's coming up to its 4th anniversary, 4 years of no contact. So the agony and despair, I am living this with you. I'm going through this every day with all of you. It's just funny how sometimes things can trigger it and just bring it back up. But listen, we march on, we soldier on. Shall I start with the comments and questions?
Yeah, jump in. I'll just say one last thing about this father.
Yes.
Obviously, that I'm just talking about. You have two opportunities when the court slaps you in the face, which they have done to this father this week. You have two responses. You can reel and fall down on your arse and stay there. Or you can get up and say, nobody does that to me. And you come out of the box fighting. And this father, to his absolute credit, has come out of the box fighting. We have a plan. We have a significant task list. And we're not going to just accept the fact that we've got to sit here like fools until next May. We're not accepting it. That's not what we're doing. We fight on.
Absolutely. There you go. There's the fighting spirit, guys. Right, Mr. D. It is sad to hear these experiences that children and parents are having within family court. Yeah, it is very sad. 5-star. Good evening, chaps. Mr. C, family court needs to get to a place where they stop micromanaging these alleged DV cases en masse. DV is a criminal matter. If alleged victims have not explored criminally, the family court shouldn't. Yes, something needs to be said. These DV cases, they're all adding and clogging up the system, I believe. I think mothers are very happy. Sorry.
Stop for a sec. Stop for a sec. Let's add a tiny bit of good news into this, because there should be some good news, and there is. Obviously, 5-star's just been on. 5-star is a regular viewer. And 5-star is one of my clients. I make no secret of that. This week, he's had his son overnight for the first time in 18 months.
He's had a good run, I have to say. He's had a good run. I mean, it started off pretty bad, bleak like most cases.
He's had a great run. And he's now got his son overnight every week.
Wow. Oh, really? Well, I just want to say congratulations, 5-star. And I think, look, on a positive note, it is possible. It's possible amongst all the chaos. It is possible. It can happen. And the key again is, like I explained to this father earlier in the week, me to sit here, we can talk about patience and being strong and being stoic and, coming out the depths of darkness and finding, it all sounds good. These are all words and they sound good and, they make good little clips. But when you're going through it, the true patience, when you're sitting in that despair, and to know that you're going to hold it together and keep chipping away for another 6 months, another year. Living it is a very different thing. And this is where it counts. You have to live and breathe this. You have to have that longevity. And this reminds me again, one of the commandments of family court, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, legit. Longevity. So guys, don't emotionally burn out. Don't sweat on it. Sit back, see what else you can get on with in the meantime. Where else can you progress? Review your case, find out what you can do. Just explore different channels. Don't just sit there stewing about it. Get to work. So yes, Mr. S, I think mothers are very happy how the courts run. Yeah, unfortunately, these delays do favor the resident parent, I will say. Right, Mr. H. Exit refusing to communicate regarding children on app close. When I was in paid contact, requested extra hours with children. Now that I don't pay for contact, she refuses to give me any additional time. There's a follow-up. Additional time. Many safeguarding issues during handovers, which are in a petrol station, and keeps breaching court order by sending children with random family members rather than the one stated in court order. Advice, please.
Okay, well, my first advice, H, is be very careful. She's trying to set you up, which is sad. The reason she was happy to give you extra hours when you were in the contact center is because you were paying for them. It was a financial penalty on you that she was enjoying, and that's immensely sad. So now there is no penalty. So there is no incentive for her to give you any additional time, because it doesn't cost. There's no pain. There's no cost to it. So that's difficult. In terms of the people who are turning up at the handover, and say they're all manner of people, I assume in your order there is a list, a designated list of people who have been sanctioned to do handovers. You just need to remind the mother that there is a designated list, and just keep making notes as to who is turning up, what is being said, if anything, and obviously continue to do all your handovers in a very public place, which I surmise the petrol station is. So in a very public place, so that if anything happens, you have got CCTV to turn to. But just remind mother that there is an order in place, and it does require particular nominees to be involved, not anybody that she wants to stop in the street and ask.
So should he email, because he's communicating with her barrister or lawyer, so should he email mother's lawyer and highlight the breaches and saying these breaches are being made currently, they've been noted and recorded, and they will be brought up at the next hearing unless they sort themselves out, something along those lines?
Yes, if there are still legals involved, then communicate with the legals. If there are no legals involved, you are using App Close, so you can communicate on App Close. because mother doesn't have the opportunity to delete it. Obviously, nor do you. So be, ensure that your language is appropriate. But yeah, just communicate to say this is not going quite as it should be.
Right. Okay. So communicate that to a lawyer, and also look, the additional time, I would say, don't sweat on that now. Just stick to what you got. Play the game. I think pushing for additional time, she's not going to give it. You're actually showing her that you want something, and it bothers you. So she's just going to do the opposite more ultimately. So we know the game. Do the opposite of what she thinks you want. That's what you got to do. So you got to just keep that focus, and remember, she's going to press every button she can. You need to be the bigger person, longevity. You need to think further and beyond, ultimately. Let her think she's winning the battle because you're concentrating on the war, yeah? Remember that. Right. Take heat easy. Take it easy. Take heat easy. Mr. T, the system is open to abuse and creative stories are allowed with no consequence. Yep. Unfortunately, that is the case. Mr. S, can you tell us more about court dates being vacated next year? Is it only for finance cases?
This question stems from a comment that was made. It was actually originally made by the current president of the family court, who was talking about public law proceedings and the fact that there is public law proceedings are slowing down because there's not enough court time, and so they're going to be given some priority next year. What that will mean is, and it's not just finance cases, it's child matters as well. What that will mean is, and you may not notice it, we may not notice it, but there is going to be some priority given to listing public law matters versus private law matters. I don't think we'll notice a great difference, I'll be perfectly honest, than the chaos that we currently endure. So I'm not overly concerned by it. It will be quite selective because there are some courts that tend to focus quite heavily on public law matters. So there are some courts that might feel a bit more impact from it, but for the most part, I'm not overly concerned. I don't think adding another rule to a list of rules that the court summarily ignores may make any difference at all, to be honest.
Right, Mr. S, are judges always allowing covert recordings? Can you ask for forensic testing, etc.? What if it is truncated or edited, etc.?
Right, the world of covert recordings, i.e. where one party has been recorded and they were unaware at the time that they were being recorded. The court has, through the Family Justice Council, a set of guidelines available to them in respect of covert recordings. And those guidelines say that the court needs to proceed with caution where a recording is identified as covert. They need to carry out some evaluation as to why that recording exists. They need to understand whether it is severely to the detriment of one party versus the other. They need to understand whether it has evidence to suggest that it has very clearly been led, i.e. you've probed and probed and probed someone until the point where they explode, and then you click the record button and away you go. So the court does a little bit of testing. Can you ask for forensic testing? By all means, ask for it. I don't think the court is ready for that. I don't think CSI Family Court is going to be on our television screens anytime soon. So it's unlikely to be tolerated, to be honest. If you can demonstrate that a recording, or you can provide fairly strong evidence to suggest that a recording has been edited or in some way, truncated in some way, and I have done that very recently by producing the original recording. It wasn't as covert as they thought it was. Then absolutely, it is difficult when you're working with just a recording that you didn't know happened in the first place. The first thing that needs to happen is that recording needs to be transcribed, so it needs to be written down so people can read what was said in it. And then if it's against you, if you're defending that recording, in terms of trying to defend what has been said because it's you who's been recorded. That's usually the case. Then what you are looking for is evidence within the context of what you've said that clearly suggests that something else had been said first that triggered you. Often covert recordings are essentially just one person ranting and raving and insulting the other person. That's because that's what you want it for. You want the magic of saying, listen, look, that's what they're really like. Listen to their language. But if they're clearly, in the context of the recording, if they're clearly responding to something, because people don't rant and rave for nothing. If they're responding to something and the language and the syntax suggests that they're clearly responding to something, that is your defense. That is your defense. Judges are in two minds as to whether they allow covert recordings in. They do that little bit of testing to try and understand where it's come from, what its purpose is, what it will add to the proceedings if it's allowed in, and then they will make a decision as to whether it should or it should not.
Right, Mr. Essen, could you just recap of what you said about a father missing 6 months? Sorry, I was late. I love your early summaries. I would say, Mr. S, if you could go back and watch it, it would be a lot easier. The summary went on for 15, 20 minutes. It's very depressing. It's too much to cover. We don't want to go back there.
But I'll give you 15. I'll give you 15 seconds. Essentially, what happened was a fact find was scheduled 6 months ago. We got to the day before the fact find, and we got a notification from the court to say it was no longer going ahead because we didn't have a judge. As a result of that, a father potentially is going to find himself spending 18 months without seeing his child, and that is fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, very sad. Right, Mr. I. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. It's difficult for us all. Thank you for motivating us to lace up our boots and conquer the storm. There you go. Something positive. Something with a bit of oomph. Get us all going a little bit. Alhamdulillah, thank you both. The advice and videos and the podcast have been really helpful. Thank you, Mr. 5-star. I appreciate that. Right, here we go. Forgot to mention, children turns up in the same clothes for the last 7 weeks, dirty, tight, and ripped. Children turn up in the same clothes. I just think, look, Mr. H, what I would say personally is, like I said, focus on the war, not the battle. These things maybe she's doing purposely to trigger you so you do something and then you walk into the trap. I would say clothes are ripped. Is it a big deal? Kids get dirty. No big deal. When they're with you, take them, give them a wash. I just think pick your battles personally. But if you're saying it's that bad, again, like I said, you take little pictures, make a note, make a recording, write a little summary, pick up today, kids were dirty again, clothes ripped, blah, blah, blah. Make a little summary, make a record, and put it in your back pocket. I just think you need to pick your battles. Is it that big a deal right now? Do you know what I mean? What do you think?
I agree. I agree. I hate to think of children who are being neglected, and there's a suggestion there that there is a degree of neglect going on. And I find that, repulsive if that's going on. But yeah, you do need to pick your battles. If you want to just fire a little phone call into social services, that might be something that's worth doing. If you want to just make a very quick phone call into the children's schools and just ask whether they are presenting as tidy and clean during the week that they're in school, that's certainly worth doing, because potentially mother's doing it just to annoy you.
Yeah, I think, look, if you can phone the school and just find out, because if you start getting social involved now, you've now fired a shot, which will then compel her to try something else. My point is, where does it end? And I just don't think at this stage you're getting contact. The animosity is still there. She's trying every trick in the book to get at you. If you get socials involved again, I just think it's going to escalate, and she'll go one further. When the kids are with you, she'll call the socials. It just ain't worth it. Look, call the school if you're concerned. Just ask about their general well-being, if they're turning up clean and smart or whatever. They look, they've had breakfast, they've got the clean clothes on, they've been washed. That's it. Just ask the question, walk away for your own peace of mind. But I just think you need to play this strategically, because what happens is when people see their own kids, emotions take over and they start doing stuff. And let me just remind you, I'm going to take this opportunity to remind all of you again, with a case with this father, Mr. Ryan knows him, we're going back And this year or last year, this father again was having good contact. He was doing the opposite of what he thought what she thinks he wants, yeah, and it was working. It was playing in his favor. And then when kids come, they tell you little stories. You know, kids have little stories, and kids were telling us little stories of how their stepbrothers and sisters all playing together, and they went to the bathroom, and it all sounds very baddie. When it's your own child, you start thinking the worst. Started thinking the worst, got emotional, got triggered, went and challenged mother on all of this. He was arrested, and I don't know if he got a non-mol or not. I can't remember. Potential application for a non-mol, and he was arrested for some very serious things after that. Yeah, again because he fired a shot. And what it came down to is when we looked at the situation, it was just kids playing together. Kids tell little stories, but when it's your own kid and it's your own little girl, you get over emotional and over defensive, and then you overreact. That's the point. And once you overreact, they've got you. You're out the picture. They've got you. You'll do something. And that's what they want. So this is what I'm saying. Remove your emotions out of it. Are your kids really that neglected? Are they really that bad? Are they all right? They're a little bit, kids play. They roll around in the dirt. They get dirty. It's no big deal. They rip clothes. They do all sorts of stuff. It's not a big deal. I remember my daughter, I was mixing some cement concrete once. She wanted to help daddy with the concrete. Started shoveling this bit of ballast into the cement mixer, got caught, picked her up, threw her over into the cement. No big deal. Shit happens. That's kids for you, yeah? So pick your battles. Don't get drawn in. That's my advice. Mr. S, 5-star, can you tell us your story? Was the overnight ordered by the court? Yes, it was ordered by the court. That's why he's got it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have it.
Yeah, it's we won't. I'd say we won't go into full gross detail on that because obviously we still are still in process. But it's a major step forward. It's taken a long time. It's taken too long. But we now have the beauty in it, and I will describe it as beauty. We now have the beauty of a father and his son spending time together. That's how life should be.
Absolutely. Success story. Right, Mr. Silenced Right. I like that, Mr. S. Can Kafka's officer advise a respondent?
Kafka's officers have to be seen to be impartial. They have to be seen to be balanced. So whatever they say to one party, they have to repeat to the other. They will offer gentle advice to one party or the other. I have known Kafka's officers who will do that. They will say things like, oh, you might want to think about this in terms of contact, just to make it a bit more engaging. And that sort of thing. They don't need to then have to share it with all parties. But what they can't do is essentially be offering legal advice to one party without telling the other party about it. So yeah, they can be low key. They can be low key, providing they're offering advice that is in the best interest of the children.
Mr. I, what's the relation between a fact find and a Section 7? This is a good question, I think.
Yeah, they essentially they follow each other. Fact find, which is an exploration. It's the closest that the family court gets to a trial, and it is an exploration of a schedule of allegations that have been made by one party against the other, or indeed both parties against each other. At the end of the fact find, a judge, 99% of the time, will then direct that Kafkas undertake, or indeed the local authority, undertake a Section 7 report. And the purpose of the Section 7 is for Kafkas to say, I've got these findings. I now need to consider these findings in the context of these children and in the context of the welfare determination, i.e., what am I going to recommend to this court that we should do in terms of these parents seeing their children? That is their relationship. They follow each other on.
Guys, let me take this opportunity just to remind you, like, subscribe, follow, and share on this channel, on this stream. Hit the like button. Also, follow Mr. Ryan on That Family Law Guy on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And all, please hit the like button. There's almost 20 people watching live. Please hit the like button. Right, Mr. Hungry Hippo, hope you're well. Is it a good idea that family courts open on Sundays? Surely it would help reduce backlog. Well, they ain't got judges for midweek right now. They ain't got judges available
Well,
for
yeah,
weekdays, let alone Sundays.
quite. Yeah, that is. I mean, that is the problem. The problem with judges is if you relate this to, well, let's start by looking at the court's opening hours. The court does business from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon with 1 hour for lunch.
Great.
Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. Do your own maths as to how many operational hours that is. It's not a lot. Obviously, stuff happens outside that, but for the premise of the hardcore hearings, 10 in the morning until 1, 1 till 2 is lunch, 2 till 4 is the afternoon session. They don't work at weekends. There were a few Saturday courts in the family court system, predominantly during COVID, while they were trying to catch up on stuff. But as a general rule, they do not work. Family court does not work at the weekends. The problem we have is if we now move away from family court and move to the NHS, why don't consultants work at the weekend? The reason consultants don't work at the weekend is because they don't believe they have to. Senior consultants are on 5-day contracts. They're on Monday to Friday contracts. And there are consultants, senior consultants in the NHS, because a very good friend of mine is one, who do make themselves available at the weekend, and they charge an obscene amount of money to make themselves available. And because they're outside contract, NHS has no choice but to pay. Next year, or possibly this year actually, a conversation begins with senior consultants to say, listen, guys and girls, it is 2025. We live in a 7-day operation world. We need you to start to accept the fact that the NHS is a 7-day, 24-hour-a-day operation. And we need to build a contract provision for you that takes account of that. And so we will see consultants, I genuinely believe, in the next 12 months, working on 5 days out of 7, probably, contracts in order to span weekends, span evenings, blah, 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 blah. That same conversation needs to be had with judges, where we say to judges, folks, we need to make this a 7-day operation. We need to do that in order to deal with this log, because if we're not going to make the number of judges any bigger, then we need to make the number of judges work a little bit harder. So I think there is an argument for 7-day courting. I think there is. There's a whole series of ramifications if we do that, because that means obviously solicitors have got to work 7 days, barristers have got to work 7 days, and suddenly all that means is everybody's costs are going to start to creep, because it's suddenly, yeah, no problem at all. I'll do you a Sunday morning hearing where I drive down to London and park myself in East London Court for 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, no problem at all. By the way, when I do the hearing on a Tuesday, it'll cost you £1,000. When I do it on a Sunday, it'll cost you £2,500. That's what will happen. That's what will happen. It is a difficulty. It is a difficulty. But opening up the court system, even just opening up so it actually works a full day, 9 to 5, would assist. But you're right. The principle, exploring things like Sunday opening, Saturday opening, full days in the week, it has to be where the court was going. And it'll be interesting to see whether the new president, when he or she comes in situ in the middle of next year, whether that's something they explore.
Yeah, it would be nice. Right, Mr. S again, Shaba Doopsie. Great work as usual, guys. Absolutely. That's why we're here. We're doing some great stuff every week. Hit the like. Mr. C, why is there a distinct lack of proportional representation in family proceedings and agencies? I had 4 hearings, all female judges, CAFCAS all female, school all female, child service all female. Yeah, that does seem to be the pattern. I have to say, Mr. C, that is bang on. Yeah,
that is the pattern. There's nothing we can do about it. That is just the nature of the beast. In terms of, I'll challenge you in terms of judges, because there are actually, bizarrely, there are more male family court judges than there are female. But if your experience is you've had always female judges, then that's how it is. There is a persuasion in the court system that female judges do tend to lean towards family court. Male judges, and I don't whether this is just the way we're wired as human beings, male judges tend to lean towards civil court and possibly criminal court. Maybe that's just how we're wired. I have no explanation as to why that is. You're absolutely right. CAFCAS is dominated by women, and that's because the role of social worker, and obviously every CAFCAS officer is a social worker. The role of social worker is a role that traditionally, and I'm not saying for 1 minute this is correct, but a role that is traditionally fulfilled by women. So there are very few male CAFCAS officers. They are out there. I've encountered some. I'm very familiar with some, but they are few in comparison to the number of female CAFCAS officers. Again, moving on, we may as well fill them all in. School, same rules apply. Primary school tends to be female teachers. We have a huge issue in this country with male role models in primary school, massive issue. And by all means, delve into the world of education and you will find that I am right. That we do not have male role models in primary schools. And so children who are potentially at home without dad are then in school without a male role model. And that is impacting on kids as they get older. That's an issue. And then child services, same principle as CAFCAS, they're social workers, females prevail. There's nothing we can do about any of that. That again is a societal issue. That's down to us as a society to encourage more men into the primary school classroom, to encourage more men into the role of social worker. It's a huge difficulty. It's a huge difficulty.
He's got a follow-up comment which says, surely in and of itself, this disproportionate setup isn't fair or reasonable to fathers by lack of balance. I would say
I accept that if we make the statement, as we have done before, if we make the statement that the family court is quite biased towards mum, I will accept that there is a huge argument to support that statement. And there are 1,000 or 100,000 examples that support that statement. I would like to think that the family court is conscious of that. I don't believe they are, to be perfectly honest, but I would like to think the family court is conscious of that. And so I don't believe that the disproportionate setup particularly makes it unfair or unreasonable to fathers. I think the mindset in family court, the structuring in family court, the history in family court, the original purpose of family court, which was to protect mothers. That was its original purpose when it was conceived. I believe that is what is impacting on fathers.
Mr. Kossip, I would like to comment, but I am way too depressed to even comment on this.
This is a depressing episode this evening.
This is very depressing. Very depressing. Sorry, guys, I'm not full of beans. I am depressed by all of this myself. Right, guys, you are superb. There you go. This is a good, positive comment. Sharp and very well read. Thank you, Mr. S. Dr. Ryan, thank you for that 15-second recap. That is a fear that all fathers have. Yes, we are constantly, unfortunately, living in fear. When we're going through this, we are in survival mode. Constant heartbreak, constant pain, constant roller coaster. This is what I keep telling people. It is a roller coaster. There's ups and downs continuously for months on end. Right, Mr. L, Mr. Low Key. Hi, can social prescribers help with getting custody of the children? What's a social prescriber?
I was going to say, you need to just clarify for us what you mean by social prescriber, Mr. L, and then I will give you my view on that.
Right, while he's doing that, let's on to the next one. So, Mr. S, is it true that the courts normally dismiss the non-resident parent's allegations as the crux of the fact find is to see if the other parent can have contact?
There is an element of truth in that. There is an element of truth that says the primary parent, who invariably is the one making the allegations, their allegations are treated with more gravity than any counter allegations made by the other side. That is my experience. That is my personal experience. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that is the the agreed and accepted procedure in family court. I am just telling you that is my personal experience. And so if you are the secondary parent, the one who does not have the children and the one who is about to face a schedule of allegations, and you offer up your own allegations, do not be surprised if they are swept aside. It's often the case, and I've had this on probably too many occasions. At the start of a fact find, the judge who picks the matter up says, okay, I've got a schedule of allegations from one parent to the other, and that's primary to secondary. And I've got another schedule of counter allegations from secondary to primary. I've had a look at the counter allegations. I don't see that they give me any merit whatsoever in terms of the welfare determination, i.e. in terms of what I'm going to do for these children. Consequently, I'm not even going to entertain them.
Right, that was a good question. I hope that answers the question, Mr. S. Right, Mr. Loki, a healthcare professional who connects people to non-medical support in their community to improve their health and well-being.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the clarification, Loki. The short answer is no. The people who have an influence in family court from external professional agencies is CAFCAS, and is the local authority via their children's services or social work department. Healthcare professionals, be they health visitors or GPs, whatever, are often invited to make comment or report into family court. Excuse me. Their influence is quite limited, is really quite limited. So I don't think that if you've got a matter where you're hoping to rely on a social prescriber or a healthcare professional, I think you're going to struggle.
Right, Mr. Ryan, I think the next comment has really now fired me up. Now it's getting me back in the zone. Right, yeah.
Get back in the zone.
Now I think we need to take this next comment very seriously and pick ourselves up. Thank you both for helping me through the darkest days of my life. Guys, I just want to apologize. Coming here with this depressing mood, I should be fired up, ready to fire you guys up so we can keep going. In these dark moments, we got to pull each other up, not drag each other down. Unfortunately, I wasn't on form. I'm feeling it myself today, boys. Been nearly 4 years. I'm feeling it myself, and I hope I allowed it to affect me. But this comment has now fired me back up. My energy levels are already up. I'm sitting up straight. So thank you, Mr. T. Thank you for giving me the motivation I need as well to carry on. And we got to pull each other up, guys. So, guys, look, whatever your case is, wherever you are, whatever the situation is, persistence is undefeated. It's only over if you give up. Patience, like I said, this is now an opportunity to practice patience. We are here for the longevity. Yeah, kids ain't going anywhere. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So, Mr. T, you're right. That's why we're here. We're here to help everyone get through these dark days, get through the trenches, to crawl out of this situation into a good place. Right, Mr. H, I see you in the waiting room. I'll bring you on if you can hear me, but turn your camera off because you've always got issue. Right, here we go. Let me bring Mr. H on. Right, Mr. H, can you hear us? You're on live.
Can you hear
Mr.
me?
H? Yeah, we hear you. We hear you, bro. Speak.
Oh, sorry. I'm in the spa, so it's noisy. Okay, well, I think what mother's doing is she's sending them in the same clothes that I bought them 7 weeks ago. So all my contact sessions, they've worn the same thing, and it's not dirty as if in a bit of mud on it. It's like where they've done painting 6 weeks ago. It's stained clothes, not dirty clothes. It's stained where stains are not coming out. I think if you remember, like 6 months ago, I bought them some t-shirt that the mother refused to let them wear it. And all of a sudden now they're wearing just that t-shirt on each contact. Like when I'm saying they're unkept, my eldest 6, you can smell the socks, the deal, etc. Now that's one. The other thing is, but what she's done is she's taught the kids to think, oh look, daddy, I'm wearing my favorite t-shirt and favorite outfit because I bought it for them. But what she's doing is she's just sending them in the same clothes.
She's playing
Um,
games with you, bro.
she's playing big games, man.
She's
The other
living in
thing
your.
is
Go on.
I've hit call. I've hit my every week. I'm recording what time I check in. I've got heaps of messages. Like I asked her a month ago, can I? Would you like me to have the children additional contact? She says I have things booked. I will let you know. I said that's fine. So if you have things booked, you know when you're free. Please do let me know. Also, I have a wedding. Can I take them to this wedding just for a few hours? Bear in mind, just the other day I missed contact because she took them away somewhere, and I said that's fine. So I'm playing ball on this thing. She's just basically been a like right old arsehole.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
look,
that's
she's
that.
gonna be. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying to you. Look, Mr. H here. Think about this here. When you said to her, "Can I have it?" Do you honestly expect her to say yes? No problem.
No,
Um,
I didn't see. That's
would you
the
like-
thing. I didn't say, can I have the children additional days? I said, would you like me to spend more time with the children additional days?
she's
And
gonna say no. No.
I've done
Do you
that because
expect
when
her
it
to
goes
say
back to
yes?
court, my barrister's got to turn around and say, when he was paying, he was throwing the kids at him. When I was paying £460 for one Sunday, she was happy to give me the kids. But now that I'm not paying, she's playing the game, and I get that. She's sticking to court order. That's fine. But the other thing is now is with these legal aid. I'll be honest, man. I don't think they. I think it benefits them more keeping me in the system because
Hmm.
when I've got, did you listen to the recording I sent you or?
Sorry, I haven't got around to it, bro. I've just been a
Okay,
couple of weeks now. I've still got it.
yeah.
I'll listen to it. Yeah, I'll listen to
So
it.
it is quite uh it's traumatizing that recording. Anyway,
Okay,
from
I'll
that,
listen
I
to it.
played it to my solicitor. My solicitor said, look, although the kids are saying these things, it's covert and you're better off having proof that your children want to stay with you in a positive mood. That's fine. My son has now gone, and you can see it in the video. He's recorded me from a distance saying, Dad, can I spend more time with you? Can I come and stay with you? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can you tell the courts I want to spend more time? I was like, tell your teachers in school. And he's
Mm,
like, but my teachers
mm.
don't listen and etc. It's just a shit show, and it's hard, man. It's very hard. Like
No, no,
I
look,
don't
it
look
is
forward
tough.
to anything apart from the Saturdays I see them, and that's
No,
it.
but this is what I'm saying, bro. At least you're seeing them now, one step at a time. Like I said, bro, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. There's going to be hurdles. She's going to throw curveballs at you. She's going to try and trip you up. She's going to try every trick in the book to get in your head. She wants to live in your head rent free. And this is all of these things, the clothes, the BO, bro. These are minor things. You need to overlook these small things because you're looking at the bigger picture. You keep chipping away, you keep building the contact till you get to your final hearing and you get your final contact. These are just little things. She's constantly chipping away at you. She's chipping away at your emotions. She wants the reaction. You just play it cool. You collect the evidence, you collect the recordings, the audios, you make your notes, you make your summary. So when the time comes, when we get closer to the final stages, then you land all of this. Bam, 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 bam. But the key is
That
you
that
stay
is the
cool,
plan.
you stay composed, and you keep going. That's it. You keep going and you don't get drawn in. That's
No,
what
no,
I think.
100%. That's the plan. But what's going to happen in my next hearing? They're just going to give me one extra day. I have to wait another year. Then what they're going to give me? A phone call a week. What? Like it's a shit show.
No,
It's
it is a
just
shit
such a
show. But
shit
what have
show.
you got? What have you got right now?
What?
And what is your contact right now exactly?
6 hours
A week.
on a Saturday, yeah. 6 hours on a Sunday, and every other Wednesday.
Yeah, look, it is. I can say to you, shit, bro, but ultimately, some people got no contact. So my point is, that you're maintaining the relationship. That's the key. Is you're maintaining a relationship with your kids. You're seeing them. Yeah, you're gonna have to ride this storm, bro, because it's not about you. It's about them. You just got to ride this storm and
hundred
just keep
percent.
through to
What
the end. That's
what
that's
it
all we
is
can
I've
do.
got what I'm trying to get is I've got so much ammunition, but the courts just are not the courts. This whole court system, they don't want to entertain it because the longer they
Well,
keep you in the system, they make more money. This is what it is. Is like, for instance, I'll give you another example. The sister was chosen by my ex-partner to do the handover because she works in children's social care. Okay,
mhm,
she
mhm.
is parking And I've recorded this, but I missed it yesterday because it connected to the car and you couldn't hear what I was commented on it, or it just jumped a bit. She is parking across the forecourt, expecting my 3 children to run out of the car, run across the forecourt to my car. That's one. The other thing is when she's picking up my children, she's putting them back in the car. There is, you can tell she, as soon as the door closed, they're driving away. So you work in children's social care, but you're driving my kids around without their seatbelts on and absolutely nothing. So where is the safeguarding for the children in that case? Mr. Ryan,
Clearly evident.
could you comment on that? And I've got all of this recorded, by the way.
Oh, there you go. You just answered my question, H. I was going to say, if you've got that recorded, because that's a safeguarding issue. If your children are riding unsafely in a vehicle, that's a safeguarding issue.
Okay. But I just feel like the court don't want to hear it. They listen to it and say, all right, Miss Adam, you can have an extra hour because Mum said you can have an extra hour. Like, I get it. She gave birth to them, but you know what I mean? I played my role as well.
You were involved in the creation, H.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, look, it's a long game, bro. This is what I'm saying. This is what I keep saying. It's not easy. This is, when I say it's a long game, this is what I mean. The reality is, I don't want to add any more misery to tonight's stream. It's 20 years until those kids get to look. The reality is this, the harsh reality today. Let's just talk about it. Until those kids get to 14, 15, and 16, where they can stand there on 2 feet and say, Mom, I allow you. I'm going out. I'm seeing Dad. Until they get to that age, bro, this is the sort of shit you're going to be dealing with. This is a fact. But the key is you maintain contact up until they get to that age. You have that bond. And then when they get to 14, 15, 16, guess what? That's when your relationship flourishes. Because if the contact is broken and lost between now and then, there'll be nothing after that. That's just facts, straight facts. And this is where it's 20 years of pain, bro. This is the harsh reality. So
you know what it is? It's because of the court system, I'm going to be in it another 10, 12, whatever years. That's fine. But the thing is that's not I don't need to fight for my children anymore. They are fighting for me.
Exactly.
Their words, and I don't need to fight. You're right. It's a waiting game, but that waiting game is mentally traumatizing, man. You think you get more contact and it gets easier? Absolutely not. It gets so hard, man. Anyway, listen, like you lot said, let's not be any more depressed on this shit Sunday. Excuse my language. When you get a chance just listen to that recording and
I'll
just
give you a bell this week. I'll listen to the record. I'll give you a bell this week. Let's have a catch up, yeah?
Yeah, we will do. Sorry, but everyone, sorry. I wish you all the best and I'll catch you soon, yeah?
Yeah, appreciate you. Keep your chin up, Mr. H.
Take care, yeah?
Right, guys, that was Mr. H. And yes, trying to pick everyone up, but this is the harsh reality, guys. It's a tough old road. It's going to require every bit of you, even once you have contact, to keep going, to hold it together, to be that bigger person. You have to just keep your children in the eyes on the prize. One of the commandments of family court, eyes on the prize, keep a focus on the kids and just maintain that bond eventually until one day that bond will flourish itself when they get to an age, and then you have a bond with them for the rest of your life. But this is the sacrifices that we have to make. We have to bite our tongue. We have to play the long game, guys. Right. From Mr. Loki, thank you. Yeah, appreciate you, Loki. Let me fly through these last few comments. Following last week's announcement regarding both parents' involvement, etc., I've talked to young men who are now totally resigned to not having kids as they feel they're so unwanted by society. I hate to say it, Mr. Cosip, but I agree with you. I look at where men are and how things are going, and you start to wonder what is in it for the men, what is in it for the fathers. Doesn't look like much currently. Any comments from you, Mr. Ryan, or shall I carry on?
No, I accept the point. I've also obviously had a lot of conversation this week with people who are thoroughly depressed by this news and by what potentially will happen as a result of it. Thoroughly depressed.
Yeah. Mr. I, hypothetical scenarios. During a fact find, what is a resident parent has severe DA allegations proved as fact, how does that impact the case direction moving forward? Good question.
Okay, very simply, if the court makes findings, i.e. the court decides that something has actually happened, and those findings are made against you, you are going to carry the stain of those findings for the rest of these proceedings and beyond. What will happen is that, as I said earlier, there's a relationship between the fact find and the Section 7. The Section 7 will be directed at the end of the fact find, and CAFCAS will come to you and they will say, so, domestic abuser, how are you feeling? What's your view on the fact that the court has now found you to be guilty of domestic abuse? How do you feel about that? Do you accept it? Are you willing to hold your hands up and take ownership of it? And how do you think that we as CAFCAS are going to allow that to impact on your children? So that stain is going to influence this matter significantly.
Let's move along. Right, from Mr. H, Mr. Hungry Hippo, no other family court informative channel like this. Cheers, Mr. Ryan, for helping my legal stuff, and cheers to Fruit for helping me emotionally. Both of you have bettered hundreds, thousands of dads and kids. Yep, that's why we're here. That's what we do. And thank you for that comment. We appreciate that. And like I said, we need to keep showing up. And I apologize for not showing up fully in my most positive mode. But yes, I will do my best going forward. Mr. C to Mr. Harry, Mr. HH, be careful saying too much to kids along the lines of tell the teacher what you want, etc. As CAFCAS would love to record that the kids are being influenced and it's not their true feelings. Good advice. Mr. C, it ends to be organic from the kids. Any talk of daddy said X, Y, and Z, they jump all over it. Yep, very true. From Mr. I, what if the fact find roles are reversed, i.e. if the resident parent is in fact the aggressor?
Well, the same rules apply. The same comment applies that the stain of the finding stays on the parent throughout the proceeds. It does give CAFCAS more of a problem if the aggressor, if the abuser is in fact the resident parent. And you will often find that ahead of the Section 7, CAFCAS will possibly publish what we call a Section 16 risk assessment, where they will very quickly bring the matter back into court, usually within a week or two, and say, we now have concerns. And possibly one of those resolutions is we need to move the children from one parent to the other. Quite extreme measure, doesn't happen often, can happen. So yeah, if the resident parent is the one who is found guilty, it can hand a bit of a headache to the court.
Guys, I think we'll leave it there. It's been 1 hour, 7 minutes. We've answered all the comments. It has been I have to say, very challenging stream, so to speak. Any closing comments from you, Mr. Ryan? Any positive, motivating words of wisdom from yourself before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, this week, our hero of this week is 5-star, because, there's a guy who is further down the line than some of us are in terms of his proceedings. His proceedings have still got some twists and turns to them. But here we are, week 1 of him now having overnight contact with his child. So he gets to put his child in his pajamas and do the bedtime story and wake up and contemplate breakfast and find breakfast cereals sort of thrown all over the floor. All the stuff that we love doing as a child with our children. So that is the positive. The positive is that the family court will allow fathers to be fathers, and will allow mothers to be mothers, and parents to be parents. That's the positive we take. If you are in court this week, respect the court, and the court will respect you. I hope it goes well for you. I have another full week, as every week is. Always here if anybody wants to reach out, but we'll see you next time.
Yes, guys, eyes on the prize. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Stay focused, keep your chin up. You're going to have to be patient. We're going to go through the trenches. It is what it is, but just keep going. Do not give up. And before you wrap up, a final comment from Mr. C. Huge congrats to 5-star. I've said it before. Just get comfortable being uncomfortable. There is far worse shit to come. There you go, guys. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Mr. C. Guys, like, subscribe, follow, and share. We're here every Sunday, 8:30. We'll see you on the next one.